Go Blue, welcome to another post-game instant reaction here on Michigan Podcast. I'm Steve Ace with Noah Dace. You can just tell by the looks on our faces. If there's a way to just enjoy a win less, to be less impressed with a win, to be more worried about the state of your program after a win than this, I can't think of a scenario that would have worked out any differently. Just absolute trash. Game was cheeks. And I really think when you see this in person, a couple of things stand out. Number one, I've sat in the same seats for 4 consecutive years, and in many of those years watched Michigan play Nebraska, who wasn't good in 22, Purdue, who wasn't good in 23, Minnesota, who was okay last year, and this Purdue team who's not good this year. This is by far the most open I have seen our wide receivers collectively in a game in 5 years. There's guys all over the field, but the quarterback just does not see the field very well in Bryce Underwood. This is another game, you're averaging about 7 yards per play, and you got to grind it out at the end against a team this bad. Bryce Underwood was frankly the MVP for Purdue out there on the field tonight. Missed guys open all over the field. 2 turnovers inside the 5-yard line. He was one of Purdue's best players. And it's the kind of game, Jay Sean Barham goes out after the first play. Donovan McCulley goes out. How many more injuries? I mean, the reality is, Noah, the team looked poorly coached, team looked poorly prepared, and it's poorly trained when you see all the injuries that keep happening over and over and over and over again. How many more guys are going to get hurt during practice weeks? About the only thing we're doing well right now as a program is recruiting. We're just beating teams because we have better talent. We don't win for any other reason other than our players are just better than you. But let's not completely bury the lead here. Jordan Marshall did have a hell of a game, kind of single-handedly willed Michigan to victory all by himself. But those are kind of my thoughts after really just one of the least fun wins I've enjoyed in 40 years as a fan. Your thoughts?
The thing about having a one-man offense is if that man goes down, you're screwed. Absolutely screwed. If Jordan Marshall got hurt tonight versus Purdue and he was out for the next few weeks, let's say Justice Haynes is also out for the next few weeks, you don't have an offense in the next few weeks. That's just how it works. I think giving him 25 carries is a bit much. I wouldn't have brought it past 20. Towards the end there, I was sitting there watching. I was like, why are we still running him? Just run Bryson Cusdall, run Jasper Parker. Don't even risk it. You're going to win. Even up by 5, you should grind it out. You're just going to win. I don't really think there was a point to giving him any of those last 5 carries because the risk is just not worth the reward. And other than that, and just pissed off, I don't really have much in-depth analysis. Poor tackling on several plays I still saw. And just the morale there. You don't really see it on the TV, but when Mr. Brightside was playing, Michigan was sitting there, heads in their shoulders, and Purdue was getting hyped. They were into it. This should not have been a game we were winning by 5 points. This should have been a game we were winning by 30 at halftime. So I'm rather disappointed in terms of that.
That's the thing, too. If you don't have those 2 turnovers inside the 5 and you get touchdowns there, you break Purdue's spirit. I mean, you and I watched. The TV camera's not going to show this, but you guys should have seen Purdue, the way they ran off the field after the Bryce Sunkett turnover inside the 5 when he fumbled it through the end zone for the touchback. They celebrated like they just won the Super Bowl, man. Just completely re-energized their team and gave them hope. They can't execute on the hope. That's a bad football team out there. They cannot execute on the hope. But over and over again, I mean, this team just is unable to sustain success. You can almost guarantee when the other team's going to do something well because it almost always happens after we do something good. We cannot sustain success, pile up momentum whatsoever. Some of it's youth. There's a lot of injuries. But again, if your quarterback doesn't turn the ball over twice inside the 5-yard line, you convert those into touchdowns, you have broken Purdue's spirit. And that's where 28-10 becomes 52%, right? Because at that point, Purdue's well, we're Purdue. They look down at their jerseys, we still suck. And you just roll them, and now you're emptying the bench. Instead, they can't execute. They can't sustain again. And, it's rare you say this after a win. But this is a reevaluate your program win. I don't know that I've ever said that in my entire life. But that's how bad this looked, how ragged it looked in person, how unprepared it looked in person. And don't go for the team is flat thing. The energy level in here was very good tonight. Right from the jump, right from the outset, the energy level was good in this stadium tonight. So this wasn't like people were just mailing it in because it's Purdue. People were hyped. Weather's good for the fall, for a night game this time of year. The energy level was high. The team just has a collection of good players, but it doesn't play cohesively. It doesn't execute consistently. And let's talk about Bryce for a minute, because to me the most worrisome thing is this is where the fans are wrong. The fans getting all over the coaches about the offensive game plan. The coaches are trying to throw the ball. They are trying to give the offense to Bryce Underwood. They're trying to give it to him. He can't execute it right now. He's incapable of executing consistently what they want. And at that point, then, they still have to win the game, right? I mean, if the quarterback can't do what you want him to do, you're like, well, crap, I guess we're just going to run the running backs into the ground. We already got one guy hurt. Let's see if we can try to maybe hurt the other guy. They're trying to have Bryce have a more active role in this offense, Noah. He's just right now incapable of executing it. And what worries me about that, buddy, is this is the 9th game. This isn't the 2nd or 3rd game. This is the time of year where you're kind of thinking, hey, maybe after a sluggish start, freshman quarterback, he's now starting to get it. Seems to me after the last 2 games, he's kind of devolving a little bit. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you said this before the game. 25 carries for Justice Haynes, completely different than 25 carries for Jordan Marshall.
Because of how physical
just because of the
Marshall is?
different play type there. Justice Haynes, 25 carries. At least 10 of those, it goes completely untouched. Jordan Marshall, every single carry, he's lowering his shoulder, he's running a guy over. I love that, but if you do that 25 times in a game, every game, you're going to get hurt at some point eventually. And like I said, if Jordan Marshall goes out, we don't have an offense for the rest of the year. That's just how it works, especially because the pass protection is horrible. Horrible. Most quarterbacks, if you throw them out there with that pass protection, they're not going to succeed, let alone a freshman quarterback. There's several open receivers that Rice just flat out missed where he made a bad play. But if you have an 18-year-old quarterback and you can't protect him, what are you going to do? You don't have a good slot receiver. You don't have someone that can catch the football. What are you going to do? You don't have an offense at that point beyond Jordan Marshall.
Well, let's go into the bye here. If there's a way to be if there's a worse 7-2 team in America, I don't know who it is. The bye comes at an absolutely perfect time. I mean, nutrition, training, I mean, maybe the cortisone shots aren't strong enough. I don't know what the hell's going on with the injury situation, but that's got to get figured out. For the next 2 weeks, man, there needs to be, I think, like a complete assessment of where this program is after what I saw throughout much of tonight. And the number one thing is find one thing that Bryce Underwood can consistently execute in the pass game, and just keep doing that over and over again. And because you can also build running plays off of that, play actions off of that. It's very clear, very clear. He cannot take a system where he just can't take the reins, where he's asked to scan the field and make a decision of where to go with the ball. You have to make decisions for him. That's just a reality of where we are right now. It's very much like the quarterback we saw last year. Where Davis Warren would just start rolling out even when the protection was good. And you're wondering, why is he doing that? Bryce does the same thing. The only difference is he's just way more talented than Davis Warren. It's the same, in terms of the way the position's played, it's the same. It's just the player playing it's way better. So over this bye, we'll close with this. To me, my number one priority, get as many guys healthy as absolutely possible. Either that means you got to fire the entire training staff and just hire the medical team at the University of Michigan to do it. These injuries are nuts. Secondly, find one concept that Bryce can consistently execute in the passing game and just get perfect at it. Stop trying to do anything else. Just one thing that if it's 3rd and 6, if we run this levels concept, this RPO, whatever it is. I mean, the route trees are good. They want to give him the ball. He can't do it. So find a concept that he can do and get perfect at it, and just run that the rest of the year. That's to me, that's my bye week priority. What do you think?
I agree. I think, like I said, if you're going to do that, if you want the offense to run through a guy who's 18 years old, he's 6 months younger than I am. If you want a guy to run the offense to run through a guy like that, you need to protect him, especially at the University of Michigan. The expectation for the offensive line should be way, way, way higher. This would not slide under any other head coach in the past 10 years at all, at least from what I've seen. It's just dreadful. It's not exactly a fun watch. And like you said, the injuries, it's just, even with those players, even if the whole team was healthy, what's the score at the end of the game? 28-10? That's not much better than what we got. So I'm not really sure what to think. You can't just point it at one thing and say, if we fix this, whole team's better. A lot of people did that last year with James Warren. They said, if we had a better quarterback, we're going to win the national championship back-to-back. That's not how football works. It doesn't really matter. The quarterback play was bad. Receiver play was bad. Pass protection was bad. Tackling was bad. Special teams is consistently still awful. That's like almost the entire team. You got Jordan Marshall. Where's the rest of the team? They didn't show up today. I don't really know. He was the one-man team. Every single point we scored, other than 3 from Dominic Zavada on extra points, were just Jordan Marshall. If he was the whole team tonight, he was the only one that looked like he wanted to be there. I guaranteed you at the end, there was a play, I don't know how much I showed on TV, he was limping a little bit going off the field, and I didn't think they were going to play him for the rest of the game, and then he came back out there. I guarantee you he asked to go back out there. I guarantee you they maybe wanted to rest him for the rest of the game, and he wanted to go back out there, because he was the only person that wanted to be out there tonight. The whole team, the whole offense ran from that one guy, and nobody else showed up. Everybody else was jogging, nobody else looked like they wanted to be there. Just him. So that's my thoughts, at least.
Well, you can just tell we came a long way and spent a lot of money to just be utterly frustrated. And there really hasn't been a lot of fun games to watch so far in this year or more, if we're being honest. There hasn't been a lot of games that have been really fun to watch. So normally I hate bye weeks at this time of the year. I need 2 weeks off from watching this team play. I'm not ready to watch this team play again next week. I need a break. Don't know about you guys. I need a break from watching these guys play.
The team does too.
I think the team clearly does as well. So, you know what? They won the game. That's the best thing that you can say. We'll see you later this week on the channel. Go Blue. For Noah, I'm Steve Ace. We'll see you then.